Hello and welcome everyone to the day 3 for our AnyAUT certified tester training. So let's continue with a quick review, or rather start with a quick review of what we wanted to do in day 2, what we've accomplished, and how we have structured the day 3. So we have seen how we write a typical simple software test case in a Microsoft Excel. And then we spoke very briefly about keywords, element identifiers, and test data. And this is one area I believe some of you also have few questions, so that I will definitely try and clarify that before we move forward. Then we wanted to talk about how we build the corresponding scenarios for any application in a test, writing a few test cases. And then we went about doing the same on the application. So be able to track who is doing what. We created one assignments sheet, and I just thought I'll quickly look at if there's any progress. So looks like most of you have completed account creation, but none of you have updated what all you have created. Can I request the team to please do this while the session is going on? I will put the link again on chat. See, it's always pretty to finish something, team. Getting started and then giving up, assuming that, hey, this is simple, we can do it, is not following the right structure of any training program. Unless we are a good student, we can never find great results. So that lies totally at your end. So it is very important as part of the certification, like I was mentioning, that we need to ensure there are 3 things that happen. I said we need to get free the training, complete the free training. So how we do it, we will protect it, but someone has to ask for request for these videos, then we will provide. And once they complete watching the videos, they have to complete assignments and the final mini project, implement it on any application and show how the entire thing is. Strongly a 2-3 minutes recorded video also is fine. And then finally a simple certification test. I strongly believe that going through this entire process and taking the certification will make you a very strong software test engineer. And this tool's next phase is the automation. How do we automate it further, and how do we use Selenium to execute web browser based tests is a very, very interesting ocean. And to get there, we need to finish this in the right way. Even without this, a lot of people have jumped into becoming AnyAUT certified developer, but it needs a little bit more focused team. So finish this, it'll be very easy. It is not as hard as you think. You've almost completed 65-70% of these requirements. Just 20-30% more, few steps, we will coordinate with you, and please do ensure you complete that. All right. So against your name, so team, kindly fill in the details. Okay. Thank you. If your name is not there, definitely please add one. The link, I've shared it in the sheet. Okay. So we will come to why all this is important and what it's going to do briefly. But let's talk about the one topic. What are keywords, element identifiers, and test data? So to explain this, it's best for me to use a diagram and then talk about it. Oops, fresh paint crashed. So team, for this, it's very important to again maybe step back a little into the basics, but very critical how we focus and try and learn it very well. Now, any step, team, that a human takes, all right, is what should we do, where should we do, and any additional data that has to be provided. Any step a human, a robot, a system, an animal that they take, there is specific execution, like okay, that animal ran from A to B. So A and B are identifiers, or it could be test data, and the fact that it ran becomes the what it did. So with this philosophy, even Selenium at the base level, the IDE, please do watch the Selenium IDE free tutorials. It will give you some great concept. Has command, then it's got something called as a locator, and then it has an additional thing called info. These are the three things that you'll see as columns in a Selenium IDE. All that it requires is this. Command is what is it that it needs to do. Locator is how and where to find it. Information is additional data that is required to execute any step. And whatever you see is what we talk about as keywords becomes the command. The locator becomes nothing but element identifiers. Information or data that we call it as, we make it as test data. Okay. There is also another video, and I want my team to look at this session and definitely take the action items. I'll also put in the Word document just in case. I'm sure you would have received the element identification videos and you would have gone through it. You should watch all about automation frameworks. There is another free video on YouTube. It'll give you a good idea on what we're talking about, team. So this information becomes very critical, team, for you to understand. Now, the same thing is present in something called as reusable components. We have realized that if the keyword, element identifier, and data are the most important aspect, can we parameterize that? How do we parameterize that, team? By saying that, okay, those three things can be changing and maybe we can reuse them. These are some things that we use every time. Maybe there are some reusable ones. So then we broke them down into what we call as keywords, or also as what's that, IDK, right? Define keyword in in-house com/orange inbuilt keywords. I am searching for the right word because we recently changed it. Inbuilt keywords. All right. So keywords are of two types, team. We say what we call as inbuilt keywords. So let's talk a little bit about these. And user defined keywords. Now, what are inbuilt keywords, team, and what are user defined keywords? Very, very critical for you to know. Inbuilt keywords are smallest actions that user performs, like click a link or click button or read text or up arrow, space bar. Different commands that a user performs. These small actions are what we will call as inbuilt keywords. When we talk about user-defined keywords, these are a combination of two or more regularly used inbuilt keywords, or what we can call that is IBK, regularly used IBK, that can be grouped for reuse in other test cases. And so this is an example for it. Example here is user login or transfer money or share post, and these are all usually custom defined. So as we go about, or as we went about yesterday, trying to create and solve that main issue of how the let this happen. This is still not fixed and moved. Just checking if my team. Okay. So yesterday in the assignments that we did, right? So most of you, thank you right now, you've been filling up details. So we could go through some of your what you've done and take it further into it. Now we've not talked about reusable components yet. So maybe I'll add one more column here, components. If you have created any, we can put it out here. That is going to be your second primary exercise team. So hopefully we have logged in. This is the only way I could see to fix this issue. Team, can you give me 30 seconds? I'm going to go grab a quick cup of water and be back. Thank you. All right, team. So all that we did as part of the initial assignment is we logged into our own applications and we went about creating modules and test cases within modules and test steps and so on. We also know that as part of this entire test plan module within AnyAUT, you have the option to export the test case, test setup. It gets downloaded whatever you created as an Excel file. This Excel file you should be able to understand because this is how any typical test case you'll find across software testing industry, and any test management tool will have a similar kind of a setup. Maybe, plus or minus a few columns. How this links up sheet wise to the application is a lot about how the Java code works to execute it. All right. Now, like I explained, that one of the most important things is this built-in keywords and user-defined keywords. It was not inbuilt keywords, built-in keywords. Okay, so if we see it anywhere, we'll change it. So to add a user-defined keyword, what it means is you want to combine a few steps under one keyword. And the simplest example is in our test case that we have, waiting for the sheet to load, team. Test steps in AnyAUT is the one that we're using, right? There are common things, right, for each of them. So we want to create a new sheet out here. We will call them as keywords. And team, just to let you know, there may be one or maximum two more sessions that we need to take to complete this entire thing. But as long as we're going deep enough and getting the entire picture clearly. Keywords, okay, or user-defined keywords. So in the same format that the test steps are there, right? These are the regular test steps. Let's look at test steps AnyAUT. Okay. The three columns that are very critical and we put here is called keyword, element ID, and test data team. All right. So now what we're saying is I can create a new test case here. Sign up freelancer, existing user. Perfect. And it will be, come on, QAO rather, copy, paste. Let's call this as number 6. Same variation of the first thing. But my first test step will be uh, go to sign up, or like this, go to sign up page. Okay. Now, as part of this go to sign up page, it has to perform all the actions till here, all these 4 actions. So I copy these 4 actions and the information required, and I will put it out here, give this keyword a name, and I will put this data now, and this becomes basically, okay, it's either my internet or my Google Drive is testing my patience, or is the Internet Explorer. I need a bigger, much faster. I bought a PC, but unfortunately my headset is left elsewhere. Team, any questions while I'm still doing this? I'm talking about how we build a user-defined keyword in a very simple logical sense. I'll just say what is this test step all about. Here is the keyword column. Here will be the element identification ID. Here test data. Okay. Now for open browser, what we have not written is what is the command that we have. One second, where is it? Yes, in here itself. What command within AnyAUT talks about this specific thing? So then we switch to AnyAUT and look at what are the different keywords that are there available. Built-in keyword, search built-in. So to open a browser, what is it? We click on open browser. So this is the keyword. So the first time we go and write here, just to show you team as an example. And navigate is navigate browser. Click on sign up link. It is still click a link. Verify that so and so sign up free account is verify text. All right. So these are the keywords that are used for this step. Now I wrote it here. Very important team. Just observe. And I will have to copy and put the same information again here because even this step requires this. And there may be another 25-30 that require this. Now tomorrow, if what text we are verifying here, sign up free account, changes to sign up for a free account. Let us assume that. Then you have to go and change it in 20 places. Here, I put it into a test data and I can change it in one place. So that becomes as the test data. So I'll come back to the keywords once I just create this sheet. So we know that we have to come back to this. Now back to the user defined keywords. So here are the keywords for this. Oops. Control C, test steps AnyAUT. These are the 4 keywords. keywords. Put it here. Okay, these are the different keywords, and they will all now have a unique name with this whatever we're writing here. We wrote go to something, right? Go to sign up page. This is the keyword actually. Come here. Go navigate till the sign up page. That is what this does. So copy this back to user defined keywords, and I that here. This is keyword description. What it does, go to sign up page, the value, and we just copy this and put it here. So the way the engine at the back end works is, if it sees a step, going back to the test steps, AnyAUT is hanging there, team. Let me see if there are questions that I can handle meanwhile. Okay, so the way it works is, uh, if it sees that there is a keyword which is a built-in keyword, then it automatically goes and executes that code. If it realizes that it's a user-defined keywords, it'll come back to this sheet. It'll go to each and every step that is required under the keyword name. Go to sign up page. It'll perform them in, and it is all maintained here. Whatever I want to change, I change it out here. And this reusability became the concept of creating user-defined keywords. So every application, every user, or every module within the application will have different reusable activities team. And those reusable activities, we put them and bundle them together, just like the same concept of functions that you see in programming languages. All right, so it is like a function name, and we just create that and we call that. So in our test case, like we created there, so I'll say user defined keywords now is, we're trying to create it by ID and description, whatever. So I'll just say user defined UDK1. Okay, just first attempt. So if you look at a team, it's a pretty not complex, but it's a rich application. Sorry. Okay, this is added. Now UDK1, the first step 1 is step description is open whatever is there, I copy from here. So the problem what is we are facing is, we don't have to do anything anymore in Excel team, but once we understand the format, it is easy. And the intuitive technology that we are trying to build will be such a way that if open browser I'm typing something similar to what I want to do, it will automatically start suggesting that, hey, here are the keywords that you can use, and they know exactly what action to perform based on that. So that's a different thing that I'm really looking at team. That's for the Peach version that we're trying to develop. It's a big project. Let's see how that goes. A type of element. So here for opening browser, I don't need element. It's just type of test data, one time use, I'll say. And let's say I save it as user entered test data is Chrome. This is the first user defined keyword step that has been entered. And now you can keep adding more and more to that specified keyword. All right, team. So once these user defined keywords are all added, you just have to, when you're adding your test steps out here, and let's say I'm adding a test step to something in the fourth module that we were working on earlier. Let's say to the same test case, I want to add The how many test cases do I have there? Steps? Nothing. The first step itself is the defined. Okay, go till the same thing here. Are you all understanding, team, what I'm doing? And it's fine, team, if you let me know if anyone of you confused, because only I can see it. But it'll help me to better understand how easy it is to eventually learn this application. How easy are we making it? I'm showing you the difficulty right now of how it is done in the earlier era, and how what we do right now will help us. And for this, I will say, hey, I don't need these 60 odd built-in keywords, because I created a custom one, and that is called as a user defined keyword. And here I'm going to select what I already created, because I don't have to click on create and build a new one altogether. I don't need to. I already created it, so it's available for me. I just have to say add test step. So when you now look at test steps, and which is a bad view, team, I understand totally. You see the open browser, navigate, click link, verify text. Okay. For the test case 001, I had 4 steps here. For test case 5, I just have 1 step. And that's a huge significant improvement, team. All we are trying to do is get to a stage where there is an effort estimation being done. Oh, fresh paint closed again. Come on. It's fine. It's better not to be frustrated, because I only lose more things if I get. Okay, let me try and do a good job of drawing this team, because it's very important. So team, when we do effort estimation for any software testing job, did I talk about this topic earlier in our sessions? Let's talk about effort estimation. There are primarily 2 contributions to it, team. One is, how much did it take to create test suite or test case slash scenario. Okay, how long will it take to execute? These are the 2 fundamental things for any effort estimation team. Multiple releases happening weekly, every 2 weeks, every 2 months, or as planned in a year, doesn't matter. Despite of the fact, you have the estimation can only be done as to write this test case. How long did it take for a human? How long did it take with just a test management tool? How long will it take with AnyAUT? And then to execute it, how long will it take? End of the day, we have to take the test case and execute it actually and see if the application is working fine, or to log a defect. So these are the 2 things, team. So create time, I'll call this, and this next one, I'll just say run time. Okay, creation time, run time. Fair enough. CTRT. Okay, so if a human has to do a certain activity, there is the creation time for it and the run time. And this is for 1 release, what will happen? 2 releases, 3 releases. Very carefully look at this concept, team, because this will totally give you the perspective of why we are even thinking about automation, the logic about it. So let's talk about a simple test case. It has 20 steps. How long will it take to write a test case which has 20 steps, team? You have to do a little bit of also see the web page, look at how it looks, the functionality, understand everything, write it step by step, ensure you're doing it correct. How long will it take, team? About 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour? I would take about half an hour, team. 20 steps, right? Very neatly you have to write, name it correctly, put it correct order, make sure that we want to verify this or not. I would say, let's on a higher side, let's say it takes about 30 minutes. Okay. Now, to run this, how long will it take? We just have to look at the same steps and execute it, not too much research. Let us say even this will take about 20 minutes each time, for example. Running is faster. Okay, muting myself. Fair enough, everyone. Now, if I use something like a test management tool, how long will it take to create a test? They have a neat workflow. You're not doing it manually in an Excel sheet and all that. So it'll help you, it'll guide you, it'll make it easier for you to do it faster. So this has come down to 15 minutes with a tool like HP ALM or Jira and so on. Are you all with me, team? Getting it? And the runtime is still the same because the value add is not coming because the runtime it is not doing anything. It's still 20 minutes. Okay, it won't change much. Now, for the first release, to do this activity, it took me 30 minutes to create and 20 minutes. So on the 0th row, we'll say it took 50 minutes total. Okay. So when the first release happens, how much time will I spend? 20 minutes. Second release, 20 minutes. Third release, 20 minutes. Each time it is the same thing. Here we saved, so 35 minutes for the initial, then 20, the same thing each time. Okay. Now, if I write an automation script specifically for this, a very important thing, Tim, this aspect is it'll compare and it'll tell you exactly why automation has been acquired and framework concept like with AnyAUT. Okay, if an automation to create the same script, how long will it take, team? Let us say just a pure Selenium WebDriver script, or you record it in IDE, get it to WebDriver, whatever it is, you still have to do it. How long will it take, team? Can I say about 1 hour at least on a fairer side? Because it's just not to execute, debug, and so on, right? So I'll say 60 minutes it took. Now to execute this test using that script, how long will it take, team? 2 minutes maybe, right? So I'll just say 2 minutes. So here is 62 initial. After the 2 and 2 and 2. So what is the total here? We already got 60, 110. Here 62 plus 6, 68. That's the power of automation, team. Now this is okay when there's one test case. What will happen if there are 1,000 test cases? That is when frameworks come into picture. What can we reuse? What can we reuse? This is all for one test case only. So when frameworks and concepts like AnyAUT comes, right, what happens is this individual test case writing time will increase slightly because we're going about creating reusable components. But as we keep doing, the graph gets lower. So at the initial, we can only create, it'll take us about 90 minutes to create a test case. But as from 1,000, we finished 100, 200, 500, as we're getting closer to 600 and so on, it'll come down to 15 minutes only. Why? Because reusable components are there. You just click, select, use, and so on. That's it. It comes out that beautifully. And execution time is also kind of gets better because a lot of things are programmed well. you make sure that everything related with data is being sent well. So there can be a slight improvement, especially if you create something like parallel test runs, then it's humongous, and that will create a much overall better system performance as things go by, team, and each time 1.5 and so on. What AnyAUT does is AnyAUT combines these things together, team. It combines test management tools, how we do the automation scripts, how we build frameworks, and puts all of it together. So the creation time is initially, again, it will start with something like 60, and this is for each test case, team. Remember that. And this will get even lesser in future to 10 seconds because it gives you the common place. And execution, either framework or AnyAUT, even we use a framework, so it will continue to remain the same. So this kind of what overall effort is needed is what why the automation has come into picture, team. And these numbers look amazing on the table. The challenge comes in implementing it, and that is why automation projects soon dies very soon. Unfortunately, they don't live their entire life, and then we are rolled back to do manual testing, and it's not good for us to and the company. It's gonna be more and more artificial intelligence. It's gonna revolve too much around how innovation is being used actively. So automation will be one of the primary objectives in the coming year, team. So while I explained everything, at least we covered onto effort estimation. So does it make sense, team, how effort estimations are done in a project? And they look at complex test cases, will take half an hour, medium test cases 20 minutes, simple test cases 10 minutes. So they'll keep that metrics, some legend, and then divide all the test cases into these three categories, put the numbers, and they have their reports ready. That's estimation. Team, any questions on effort estimation? Yes, no? No is also a good answer. But if you have questions, I'll be glad to answer at this point. All right, excellent. So this creation of user-defined keywords and built-in keywords is the first and foremost thing, team. You can combine them and put them into actions. The next one is element map. What happens is you can go about looking at any application that you have, and let's say you right click, this is zoomed in, you right click here and right click, come on, it's not letting me right click. What happened? Let me try Chrome and a different. I'm just going to a different application, team. What happens in any application? Let's say this weather.com here, right? It is all about different elements. Now tell me something, team. Does every functionality in this given website has to be tested? Is it the correct thing to do? Yes or no? Yes, absolutely yes. Unfortunately, we may not get the time and bandwidth to do everything, but that is the whole intent. So in this case now, what I'm trying to say is, um, looking at an application like weather.com, in this homepage, there are so many elements. Now the next question is, what is an element? Typically, what is any button, text box, link, drop down, video, anything that you see in a web page, each of them is one element. When you need to do automation or any test step, you need to point to where this is. Now the question to you is, let us say if I need to identify this specific one where this picture is. How do I do it, team? How would I do it? I need to identify the element, and element identification, it needs to be done by using the inspect option that you'll find in any browser. So you right click on that and just say inspect. What will it do? It will take you to that HTML section of the code where this image is. Now another question, team. Will this image may be used only in one test case or multiple test cases? The element identification for this image, where is this image located? Will it be part of one test case or many test cases may have it? All right, sorry. Actually, for such a one, I don't think more than one team. Maybe, actually, you know what? Maybe 5, 6. So it's not really reusable. So I don't have to store the address of this maybe to begin with. But how about specific thing out here? This video, the top main video that's coming. Is this going to come up regularly? Part of a lot of things? Many, because it is maybe connecting to different other streams of operation. This is the most important one. So right now it is saying state of emergency, right? In California and so on. That's the main content. Now we click on this and it will open up different options. So this is the main thing. So weather.com, news, whatever is there, and it's going to take us to that specific section. So in here, we may check for when it was posted, what is the duration of the video, are these most popular things coming. So multiple test cases can arise, team, because it can be at the very beginning, or even things like the create your account button or menu icons here and so on. All of these things, we basically say how reusable is a specific element. If an element is reusable and if it appears in multiple test cases, here is a very simple question. For any element, if it is reusable, or changes often, then we should make it, put it or place it under reusable components. And that basically element page name, oops, it is playing now, name, and the ID type ID. And that's the same information that you'll find in AnyAUT application when you try and go and create an element map. So in the home page of weather.com, now what are the various most used elements? So we look at this application and then we say that, okay, the logo is most used, the icon on the top left is most used, the search bar is most used. These are the ones. So we go here and we create, we will say weather or weather.com WDC underscore home. Okay, I'll say WDC, this is home page, and we add one page. Now once that is added successfully, all we need to do is go about adding different elements to it. So each element we can put a different specific identification and say what we do with it. So element name, I will just say logo or main logo. Maybe there are other things also, so I'll say main logo. Check if main logo is displayed. Maybe, you know, this is overachievement for AnyAUT because we don't do bitmap checking yet. Check if main logo is displayed or certain property in it. So we want to check if, or yeah, let's do this. Check if alt text appears on the main logo when mouse moved over. All right. So now it is of a type image. So for image, there is no specific thing like text it has and so on, identification. I will just say it has a name, and that name value, I'll give it as, it has a value main underscore logo underscore image. Okay, this is what I'll say, and I've added this element. And under this page, I go about invest in spending some time and adding these elements. The main reason is for some unknown thing, you know that the home page, uh, not if not the logo, something out here is going to change. Okay, the way this identification works. Okay, so today is there, for example, or hourly is there. If it says that hourly changes to 60 minutes, then you have to go and change in maybe 70-80 test cases where hourly word is being there or this link is being used, and change it everywhere. If you have it organized in element maps, future maintenance becomes very easy, team. That is a big achievement. Maintenance becomes truly easy with frameworks and reusable components. So this is also something, I'll put it up here first. Okay, everyone with me, team? Now what we should do is look at the last one, test data. What about test data? One second. If an element meets either two below, and then I can go about doing my stuff. And this is test data. I would prefer it to be a little bit more presentable. Let me check if there are any questions. There's one question asked by Hitesh, that how can it be reusable if it is changing often? So that what we are saying is that is why it should become reusable. See, there are things which get spoiled very quickly on a device. So there are spare parts more available for that part because it's very frequently used. Let's say the volume knob on a car, right? So when we know that it is being reused a lot, then it should be easily replaceable as well with something else. If it has to change, then take it out, put a new one back in. If it is not widely used, then there's no point, because any kind of a thing that we do in one section, when we create our element map, it can be used anywhere else. Wherever it's being used, the effect will happen there. Team, am I making sense? And for those of you it is not making sense, I will honestly suggest and request you to repeat whatever we're doing from day one till now, because even if you have to learn HPALM or Jira, these are the common things that you'll see, team. Just this framework and reusable components are the more stepping stone towards automation. Now what about test data, team? Whenever when we need to execute the same test case for different sets of test data. We do not, for let's say for 20 different sets of test data, we do not need to create 20 test cases. We create 20 sets of reusable data and execute that test case in the that one test case 20 times. That's what we do. Now with this test data, the other point that comes out is that when test data changes or new data has to be added, maintenance becomes again very easy. How easy it is to maintain. And that's the whole point. You put a central repository. It's like this team. How do we set our phone times? Let me ask you all. Where do you check for your when we need to check it? What's the time right now? For example, where do you look at? You look at your laptop. You look at your cell phone or your watch. Okay. Now there is a daylight savings that will come, correct? As soon as it comes, all these clocks change automatically. How? Because they're network connected. They're relying on a central source where they change the time at that central source and it will automatically change at all your devices. Now, is your phone connected to the network? Not unless it's a smartwatch, correct? If it is not connected to the network, it won't change. You manually have to change it. But then you have one watch. I actually have more watches than devices, but it's not something that you could automate. So you just have to drop it. But wherever you can, that is the whole plan. There's one source. You change the source, like the alien mothership. Every other node will automatically get that. This is what is commonly also linked with um, different concepts in Java as a programming language. Can it do this? Can it do that? And all those inheritance words and so on. For that, I think we need a different session altogether, too. Okay, so that is test data. Now, all these key reusable components becomes the core for any automation testing tool. And more specifically, not just any automation, functional / regression automation testing. Wherever it is there, this becomes the core part of it. Without this, the ERA, like I mentioned, will not look good. And you all know what is ERA, right? The efficiency, it is not just one time, how is it maintaining it and so on. Reusability, how we can create different reusable components and keep using them as part of a metrics kind of network. And accuracy, while achieving all the efficiency in the world and the optimizations, if it still doesn't drive, then the product code value will go away. So this is very critical, team. Now, to do the same thing with test data, let me show you quickly. You have the option here called test data. So test data is pretty simple. It's not as complicated as user defined keyword or element map. It just has a few columns. What is the test data set? Give a name to the test data and value. Like for example, here we have different test data sets and values here. So I just create one. Let's say in the same test data set, this is Chrome, freelancer valid, freelancer. Okay, it's pretty clear. See, this is Chrome, freelancer option, and valid user account. That is how it's created. And in this, there should be multiple sets of test data here. Okay. The name of the test data is browser and the value is Chrome. And for the same test case, in the next one, everything may be different. The browser is different, the username is different, and so on. So we're checking that, hey, if I enter password in this format or password in this format, does it work? For such kind of test cases, it's easy to maintain. And you want to see it on different browsers, how it's happening. There you go. You have the ability to do that. So that kind of makes it, this makes tools more intelligent and they respond to human use. So more like, artificial intelligence towards that. That is where intelligence is, the industry is going to. I think it is long due. Things will, artificial intelligence is nothing but the concept in which the systems are learning, and as they keep learning, just like humans, intelligence, we're not born with every skill. We develop over a period of time by observing, learning, and so on. Systems will now do the same. They'll try and learn, and they try and become better with everything that we say. And things like Alexa or Google Home machines are a simple example of that. They listen to what you're saying, they try and respond and be more personalized through it. So that's about what we have under the day 3 topics team. One assignment that I'm definitely adding here and you should all work on is to start creating reusable components. Now, what I will do is ask Ashna's help to extend these sessions by another 2 sessions, because one topic that I definitely want to take is how we go about doing the execution and so on. And then the effort estimation is done, how to get certified and how to present this. I think we will try for one. If we don't finish in one, we will do the other, will take longer. Okay, I'm open for Q&A. I also actually, what, I here's what I'm going to write it. Day 4, what all I'm going to do, there'll be no confusion then. So this is the first one. I'll cut it from here and put it here. How to present, yes, this is not done. And how to get certified, also not done. Okay, day 4, this is there. And what is the other thing I wanted to add? Assignment presentations. So each of you, as you're doing assignments, for example, you've completed, some of you, a lot of modules and so on, you would like to do a demo, maybe ask a few questions, and this will really help in recognizing you for the certification team. What you're doing here just basically tells us everything about how things are happening in the entire project. Okay, so a lot of you are attending team, so it'll be good to have you all work on this. Okay, let's see what else. Any other questions, please? I want to update my details on the Excel sheet as I did not do on day 2. Sure, you can do it at the end, Lavanya. How can I also report bugs that I see in AnyAUT while I use it? So in the last day 4, what topics we want to discuss, right? That's exactly what I mentioned. So if you go up here, so you have something called as test results. So after you complete your execution, your results are here. And if you've already uploaded a file, you can download it. It'll be a zip file. It'll have an HTML file and it'll have a couple of reports. The HTML file, when you open it, it'll display exactly as to how many test cases got executed, what are the different ones, and why did each step fail, where did it fail, what went wrong. So all those details it will tell us, and what time did we start the test, what time did we end the test, and so on. And if you go to the home page, you'll see an automation report where it gives you status, more like a dashboard of what happened overall, who made the execution, and so on. So this becomes a report and it is attached to the test, saying that when we ran this test at that time, this is what happened. And a similar Excel sheet to what we exported as the test setup. This basically talks about step-by-step execution, the final steps that were executed, and any details that were collected. So all this is present out here in this Excel. And then there is actually also we're trying to come up with log files and so on that will have that, and the original test cases, test steps. Okay, so that was a quick answer to your question, Hitesh. I tried to be as quick as I can. How can I get some help to do the mini project? I'm doing it, but I'm not sure if I'm doing it correctly. So this is not yet the mini project theme. Mini project we will start later once we finish the assignments. Okay, so please note that. After we finish the assignments, we will then start the mini project. For that, you can take about 4 or 5 days and work on it. Thank you, Meghna. Always good to hear something good about this tool. While I use AnyAUT application, I came across a defect. Is there a place to the defect? Yes, Maria, there is. We discussed this. Someone wanted to help me out yesterday with sharing that link. I believe it was Ragi. No, I don't think she's there in session today. That's fine. So right now, just note it somewhere, team. As we keep going forward, there's a list there, which already the team is creating. We can put it up there. We'll accumulate everything and then we can send it to an email address. So anything that has not already been identified will be put there. Okay. Start mini project. So assignment presentations. So the assignment that you have, team, is so I'm actually not talking to you, just typing. It's primarily almost what I wanted to say. Do two things. One is identify, identify and create reusable components. What are they? Each application you go, you identify. But the reusable components will be user defined keywords, element identifications, and test data. These are the ones. The second thing you have to do is create new test cases using the reusable components. This is the two parts to the assignment team. I hope this is very clear for all of you. What is the assignment? Okay, what is this next one? Hi, I wasn't able to join the first and second meeting and viewed the first session, the videos. Can I still join this training? Yes, if you're able to go through the videos, and now we're seeing the participants even to the last day, then we will find out if they've gone through. Then you can get into the project and certification. The video link for the second session should be there in the same one. Team, do you all have the video link for the second session? Second session, the one which we did on Friday, correct? So here is the one. Oh, it's not a playlist. I'll check right away. How will they be able to? Hmm. I'll check on this team. It's really surprising. It's on YouTube, yeah. In fact, that's one recommendation that I give to everyone. Just go to youtube.com/qtp.elearn and subscribe, please. And any new video, even not just this, we post, it'll come to you. All right. So there should be playlist welcome created. To a brand new. I will not change that. Okay, I'll work with the team on this. There were a couple of more questions. If there are, I'm going to put all the hands down. If there are any questions with people having them, just raise your hand so I can unmute you if you want to speak. Day to video link, thank you. I got this. I'll put it in the chat, and I'm surprised why it's not there. So here's the link directly to the YouTube video. The day 2 is there. Okay, what are the questions? I think most of the questions I've answered. How can we get help for assignment? So assignment is very simple. If you follow from day 1 exactly what we did, how we constructed things together, it is mostly self-explanatory. We've done the first assignment. If you complete now, then you can start on the second assignment. Please send the link for updating the name in the Excel sheet. Okay. Assignments. Okay. All right, looks like no other questions. Thank you so much. Let's meet for day 4. Definitely not tomorrow, because tomorrow there's a live project, Selenium live project, at the same timing. I will see you mostly on Wednesday or Thursday, team. Mostly Wednesday. Thank you, everyone. Bye then. I'll get this video also up along with the other video. Thank you, everyone. Bye now.